That's what we love to do every single day here on CWI Will Live.
Okay, let's just change one of those letters from an E to an A and say, hello, Kim Baer. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Good. We're going to be talking about something here this morning. Kim Baer, attorney at law, talking about something that you really need to pay attention to, especially if you've been involved in a car accident, because there is a part of this story that when you hear it, if you're not aware, it could really catch you off guard.
Well, everybody's traveling. It's summer,
Yes.
summer vacations. People are out and about. It's just beautiful out. People want to get outdoors. But unfortunately, accidents do happen.
Yeah, accidents do happen, and if it's a small accident, and so maybe you really weren't hurt, or you went to the emergency room and maybe saw your doctor once or twice. So it's a small accident, and you think, I really don't want to hire an attorney. I want to try and handle it myself. So I thought we'd give some tips today on how to do that.
Okay.
So, and what Lou was just talking about is a lot of people don't realize that if you settle your case, you have to turn around and pay back your health insurance. So for any money they spent on your health care.
So you have health insurance, and they're paying for your medical bills.
Yes.
But if you have a settlement,
Yeah.
then the deal is you have to pay the health insurance back.
Correct.
Wow.
And so what you want to do, so let's just use an example. Let's say you were in a car accident today, and well, let's make it a week ago. So that way you've been to the hospital, you've been to your family physician, and so you're feeling okay now. And of course you've got the insurance adjuster calling you,
Right.
because they want to get it settled. They want to be done and they want to close that file. So let's say they offer you $5,000, and you think, well, okay, $5,000 for what I've been through, that's not bad, and you accept it. And then about a week later, 2 weeks later, you get a letter from your health insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or whomever it is, and they're going to ask you, how did this car accident happen? Did somebody else cause it? And you have to answer those questions, and the next thing you know, they're going to say, all right, Lou, we paid $1,000 for your emergency room visit, and we paid $200 for your doctor. So you owe us $1,200. In some cases, maybe it's you owe us $3,000 because there was an ambulance. So now your $5,000 just is, being diminished to the point that maybe you've only got now a couple $1,000s in your pocket for what you went through. So what you have to remember is when you're dealing with the insurance adjuster, you're going to want to give them a copy of all of your medical records, a copy of all your medical bills, and know that whatever number you agree to, that out of that number, you've got to pay back your medical bills.
So why do you have health insurance then? That's what the first question people are going to say. Well, that's what my health insurance was for.
Exactly,
to pay for it.
exactly. And so, but if you look at it from the health insurance perspective, so let's say I work at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so we're trying to make sure that we spend money to cover your health insurance. But if we have to spend money to cover your health needs because Jackie hit you, well, Jackie's responsible for that. And then you just recovered, the $5,000 you were paid were based on your medical bills. So you just got paid for that. So you should pay us because we're the ones that spent the money. So that's, if you look at it from everybody's perspective, it makes sense. But the key, the one thing you want to take away from this conversation today is to make sure that you remember that you're going to have to pay those medical bills back. And so take that into account when you're agreeing to a settlement.
And if you agree and you try and fight it later, it's too late.
Yeah, we get calls all the time. People have seen these segments, and so they'll call us and say, hey, I settled, and now I've got to pay this back. Can you help me? Well, if you've already signed a release, you're done, and then another tip too, make sure you're done treating. If you're in the middle of physical therapy, or you're in the middle of seeing a chiropractor, or you don't still feel quite right, don't settle, because when you settle, you're done. And now they're not going to pay for any future treatment. So that's a problem too.
What's your time limit or deadline?
It's 2 years. So
2 years from the accident?
From the date of the accident.
Before you have to.
Before you have to either file a lawsuit or get it settled. So you've got plenty of time. What you just have to remember is that the insurance adjuster who's representing the person who caused the accident, if you hit Lou, it'd be your insurance company. All they want to do is get it done. They want to pay you the least amount of money possible, quickly, and close the file.
So what do you say to someone because they're very persistent?
They are. They call and they want to be your best friend.
They want to be your best friend, and they want to get things handled. And what do you say to them to be like, I obviously I need time, or I'm trying to figure out my medical situation. But after a while, people break under pressure. What
Right,
do you
right.
recommend that people
The same
use or
thing,
say?
if you were to hire me, or if Lou were to hire me, what I would say to them is we will be back in touch when we're done treating. Don't call me until then. I'll get a hold of you. And so you should feel free to say, I've got your name, I've got your phone number, I've got the claim number. You know, it looks like I'm going to need 6 weeks of physical therapy. Call me in 2 months. We'll talk then. And if you say that to them, I mean, these adjusters, they'll leave you alone. I mean, they'll say, okay, you know what? She's told us to leave her alone.
Because you gave them a reference.
Yeah, you've given them a reference and you've said, you know, I'll be back in touch, you know, but make sure you pay attention to 2 years statute of limitations, you know, because 2 years and a day, you're done. So you got to pay attention to that.
I'm just still blown away by the fact that you have to pay back the insurance if they paid on you, as opposed to the person that caused the accident has to pay your insurance.
Well, isn't it insurance companies just who owes who?
Who
and,
owes who?
And we
Yeah.
unfortunately
Who owes who?
get caught up in it because we
Right.
don't know all the politics
Right.
that are involved. So that's why we're trying to teach you this morning.
Right.
But it's just
Exactly.
insurance companies playing
It's
the
just
game.
insurance companies, and you have to remember that the money that you're getting is from Jackie's insurance company. So it really is Jackie paying, because Jackie's paid for that insurance, and so now that her insurance company is going to step
so you're
up.
just passing the money along.
Exactly.
You're just
so
a delivery person.
You're just the delivery person. Another point. So your car. Let's say your car was really injured. You know, well, damaged would be the word.
Injured.
Yeah, injured. It was hurt. It was hurt.
The car was
yeah,
hurt.
yeah. So let's say it was damaged, and so there'll be a separate property adjuster for that. So you can go ahead and get that settled. And that doesn't mean that it has anything to do with your personal injuries. So typically the car stuff, that you do want to get settled fairly quickly because you want to get your car fixed, or if it's totaled, you want to get a check so you can go buy something.
Right.
Now, the first offer on property damage is usually not the last offer. So don't just say, oh yeah, $3,000, that sounds fair, you know. And then get on Kelley Blue Book and look up what the value of your car is, and make sure that you're looking at not a trade-in value, but actually a sale person to person, because that's going to be a higher value. And then you can use that with the adjuster and just say to them, hey, I got on Kelley Blue Book, I put in my mileage, I put in all the features on my car, and here's the number I came up with. And so typically if you've got something to back up your number, they'll work with you on it.
Okay.
So you just want to remember, a lot of times people will come in, they'll say, you know, I took this number, you know, I wasn't happy with it, and I'll say, well, was that the first offer? And they'll say, yeah, and I say, oh gosh, you know, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, kbb.com is the Kelley Blue Book website. Okay,
Yeah,
KBB.
and it's great. I mean, but make sure you put in, you know, all of the features. I mean, if your car has a sunroof, it's going to be worth more than one that didn't. You know, same thing with regard to mileage. So you just want to remember that. Now, if you need to hire an attorney, the other thing people are always worried about is, well, I've missed work, and so how, you know, I'm already kind of behind the 8 ball. I can't afford to hire an attorney.
Right.
Attorneys take these cases on a contingency fee basis. And what that means is you're not going to pay an attorney any money unless they settle the case or unless they get a jury verdict for you. So in other words, they'll take a percentage of anything they recover. Typically it's a third. So you just need to know
So
that.
keep that in mind,
So
too.
keep that in mind, that if you want some help, a lot of times we'll have people that'll come in and they've really been hurt, and they've tried to figure it out all themselves, and now they're just overwhelmed, and they'll just come in and say, here's all my stuff, just handle it.
Okay,
you know?
so Kim, we're driving along, and we get
Yeah.
involved in some type of automotive altercation, so to speak.
Yeah.
What should be the first thing somebody does? You realize you've been in a crash, you come to a stop. What should be the first thing you do?
Well, so the first thing, number one, make sure you're okay. I mean, if you're really hurt, I don't want you jumping out of the car and trying to take pictures and get witnesses' names and all of that. So if you're really hurt, you know, then wait for the ambulance and all of that. But dial 911 and get a police officer coming, because we need the police report.
You need the verification.
You really do. If a witness has stopped, and a lot of times people will stop to make sure everybody's okay,
Right.
but then they need to get to work, so they want to take off. They don't want to wait for the police. So get their information, because you wouldn't believe the number of times that you know, maybe you rear-ended him, or you had a green arrow and you're coming through, and now there's a whole dispute. Did you have the arrow? Did you not have the arrow? And maybe the person behind you said, oh yeah, he had the arrow, because I could see it. After it's all said and done, if there's no police report or there's no witnesses, there's nothing that prevents Jackie from saying, you didn't have the green arrow, I had the green light, you pulled out in front of me. And we get into those things all the time.
He said, she said type.
He said, she said. Use your phone, take some photos, get the insurance information, but police report, witnesses, and photos. So just make sure that you kind of covered, make sure you've kind of covered all of your bases so that you've done everything you can to protect yourself.
And then when do we call someone like you?
So you can call us. A lot of times people will call us, the day of the accident, the day after the accident. The other thing that you need to remember too is that whiplash usually takes 24 to 48 hours to show up. And so does a concussion. And you don't have to hit your head to have a concussion. It literally can be the back and forth that can give you a concussion. So a lot of times people will say about 3 days after an accident, I'm having headaches, I'm a little dizzy, I'm having trouble finding words. Those are all the classic symptoms of a concussion.
Right.
So
great things to think about. If people want to get in touch with you, Kim, if they have more questions to ask about this, where should they go?
Sure, just give us a call at 515-INJURED or 515-279-2000.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kim. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys too.
It's 7:40, and we will be right back. You're watching CW Iowa Live in West Des Moines.